Greetings everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing an autumn inspired makeup look. I have been meaning to do this for quite a few weeks now, but I had a bit of a break from YouTube, so it is a little bit later than it was intended to be. However, there is still a few weeks of autumn left before Christmas truly sets in, so you've got a bit of time left to get your autumn on, and I hope this inspires you to create your own autumnal makeup look. But in all honesty, you can wear this at any point, but it is really based on a plum lip and a gold eye because I love that about autumn, and I love autumnal makeup and winter makeup as well. I just think it's the most beautiful time of the year to really get some awesome colours, really rich coppers and plums, and I absolutely love it. So I wanted to do a look for you today, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I also just want to point out before I get into this video that I am not a makeup artist, I'm not a professional, I am not trained in the art of makeup. I like wearing makeup, I'm an enthusiast, and I really just wanted to do this to give you some tips on how I do my makeup for autumn. I also want to say to any of those of you who are new subscribers who have recently joined my channel, you might not know this about me, but here we are. I am visually impaired, I have been since birth, I am blind in one eye, I've only got 10% remaining vision in this eye, so my makeup method might be slightly different to how you do your makeup, but that is because my eyes are not very good and they don't work very well, so I have to do things in a different way. At any point I do something different in this tutorial and you're like, why are you doing that? You know why. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it and let's get into the tutorial. I am first of all using the Bourjois Healthy Mix Foundation in the shade Light Vanilla, and I pat this onto my face using the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion sponge, and I begin from the centre of my face around the nose area and then work this product outwards, being sure to use the tapered edge around the nose area and any little crevices of my face so that I don't get a congestion of product. And I also blend this out where my neck is and in my hairline, just to ensure that I don't get any harsh lines and that the product spreads evenly. I personally love this foundation because it's really hydrating and it's good coverage. It's medium to high coverage depending on how much you put on, and for the autumn time I think this is lovely, and it's kind of my fail-safe foundation. I don't really use any other foundations, I just love it. Then I use the Be Radiant BB Under Eye Concealer in the shade Light, and I draw triangles under my eyes and fill them in to help flatten my eye area out. And then I also use the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer in the lightest shade, and I apply this to my T-zone and any spots and blemishes that I have and my nose. And I've been using this combination of concealers for a while now. And I then just blend that all in using my Real Techniques concealer brush, which is a really little tapered brush, and I love it because it really helps to get into all the little creases. And I also use the higher end of the brush, so where it's at a higher point, the slanted edge, to go right near to my eye to ensure that I don't get any redness, and that I blend it out and so that the concealer covers all the red patches that I can get around my eyes at this time of the year, and any red spots that I might have, like where my nose is, because at this time of the year your skin gets quite dry and red, and concealer is your best friend for the autumn. I honestly think that concealer is a must for the autumn season, and this brush is amazing just because it helps to get all those little creases and corners of your face that you might not be able to get. I'm going to just blend that all in with my fingers just to ensure that I haven't missed any of the product at all. I then take the Este Lauder powder, and this is in the shade Translucent I believe, and I use the Real Techniques stippling brush and I just stipple this onto my T-zone, a little bit under my eyes, where my chin is, and my nose, just so I don't get shiny in the middle of the day. Then I take the Bourjois bronzing primer and I apply this by dabbing a little bit onto my nose, my cheeks, my forehead and my chin, and then taking the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion sponge again, I then just dab this in, just because I like the fact that it's a moussey kind of product and it's not too drying on the skin. And sometimes I might use this in conjunction with another product, like another bronzer, powder one for a bit of contour, but sometimes I just use this in isolation. It just depends on what kind of look I'm going for, but today I just use this on its own, and I just blend this around the hairline, the jawline, and just any creases of my face. Then taking the Too Faced Cocoa Contour, the medium contour shade, and using the 301 Real Techniques contour brush, I then just apply this to the hollows of my cheeks, and I suck my cheeks in, and then I just buff this on. And it does look quite harsh at first, I will admit, but then I just go back over it again when I've applied it initially, and I just buff this a little bit, just up and down slightly in little motions. And I also apply it to the top of my forehead as well. But I think once you blend it out, it looks lovely, and I love this brush because it really helps to get a nice definition to the cheekbones, and I think it's fantastic. Then I take the pink blusher from my Pixie Early Birds kit. It's quite a dark pink blush, it's the bottom one. And using the Ecco Tools blush brush, I just buff this onto my cheeks in a diagonal kind of motion, and then I work this around my face. So from my cheek I go around my temple, and I just buff this in a C motion just to help to blend it a little bit so it looks a bit more natural and I don't get any harsh lines. I then highlight using the Makeup Revolution Goddess of Love highlighter, which is a beautiful golden highlighter, and I apply this using the MAC 138 brush, and I just apply this to the cheekbones, and I also apply this to my temples and a little bit down my nose, and I love it just because it casts a beautiful glow over my face, and I think it looks stunning for autumn. I also like this brush because it's really fluffy and it's just lovely to apply highlighter with. Then onto brows, I first of all brush them, and then I apply the Milani brow pen in the shade brown, or taupe I think it is, and the way I do this is to just gently apply this. And for eyebrows, you need to make sure that you make them a little bit squared at the end so that they look quite defined. And this pen, in all honesty, isn't the easiest thing to use if you are a newbie to eyebrow products, if you've got slight loss like myself, but because I'm quite used to it, I find it relatively easy. But also my eyebrows are in quite good condition and they are quite full, so it's just easy for me to use this. And I just basically apply this by gently buffing this onto my eyebrows, and just to ensure that I get a nice defined look. Then I take the Decay brow gel in taupe, and using the end of the brush I apply this to my eyebrows, and I love this because it really helps to thicken them and just give them a bit of extra definition, and you could use this on its own or in conjunction with another product. Then I take the Decay Eye Primer Potion in the shade Eden, which is a gold champagne colour, and I just apply this to my eyelid just to help fix the eyeshadows that I'm going to be using in place, because they're quite dark coppery colours and I want to make sure that they stay in place. Then I move on to my eyeshadow, and I first of all use the Salted Caramel palette by Makeup Revolution. I'll take the pink colour, and using the MAC 239 brush I just pat this onto my eyelid and just up slightly above the eyelid just to help make the eyelid look a bit more even in colour. And then I apply the gold colour from the palette onto my eyelid as well, just going on the eyelid and stopping at the crease just to have a nice bit of shimmer, and this is a really rich gold colour. And then after I have patted it on, I then take my MAC 217 brush and I just blend this a little bit just to make it look a bit more softer so I don't get any harsh lines. I then take the Laura Geller Autumn Leaves palette, and using the Real Techniques Bold Metals brush in 201, which is a little tapered brush, I then apply this to the crease of my eye and just gently buff this in. I use the more tapered edge initially to apply the colour, and then I buff it out a little bit with the edge of the brush, so the side of the brush, just to help diffuse it and make it look a bit more softer. And then I add a bit of the brown colour from the Laura Geller Autumn Leaves palette, matte brown, and I just buff this onto the corners of my eyes, and as if I was drawing a C on the outer corners of my eyes. Then I blend that all using the Real Techniques Bold Metals brush in 200, and then I add a bit of highlight. So I use the cream shot colour from the Autumn Leaves palette, and I apply this on the brow bone and then a little bit in the inner corners of my eye, just to tie that all in together and just add a bit of highlight. Then I take the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On eye pencil and I use it in the shade Smog, which is a beautiful copper colour, and I just draw a line onto the lash line. And I really like this because it's lovely for autumn and it looks like freshly fallen autumn leaves. These eye pencils I find really easy to apply. I just think they're really good. They're like a crayon and they are really creamy and they glide on easily, and they make it a little bit more easy for me to apply eyeliner. And because they're brown, if you smudge it doesn't matter. I did smudge mine a little bit and then I just go over it with a Q-tip underneath so I get any fallout off. Then I curl my eyelashes. And then I apply my mascara, and I use the Benefit Stereo mascara, which is my fail-safe mascara, and I love it. It's just so defining to the lashes, it's lengthening, and I just love it. I think it's one of the best mascaras I've ever used, and it's one of my essential products. I don't think I'd be without it. Then I take the Ultimate Ozone Lip Primer by Urban Decay, and I put this into my lips. Then I use the MAC Current Lip Liner, which is a dark berry lip liner. It's very, very dark, and I apply this to my lips. I line them a little bit, and then what I do after I've done that is I slightly smudge it out with a lip brush, the MAC lip brush to be precise, just because I don't want it to be a harsh line, because it looks quite 80s when you line your lips and you don't blend it with a brush afterwards. So I do blend mine to also make them look a little bit more ombre, and it just makes them look a bit more natural looking, and it just softens the look up, I think, a little bit. And then after I have lined my lips and I have softened it with a brush, I then do my lipstick. So the lipstick that I tend to use is the MAC Dark Side lipstick for this time of the year, because it's a really beautiful dark berry colour. It's probably one of the darkest berries I own at the moment, and it's the darkest I would venture for an everyday kind of look for autumn, but I absolutely love it. I think it's gorgeous and it's just got so much depth to it. And I apply this by using the MAC lip brush, and I just apply this to my lips. I don't do the method of just sticking it on my lips from the actual lip product itself. I apply it with a brush just because I want it to be a bit more softer. I then finish by taking the Goddess of Love highlighter, and I just apply a little bit of this to the Cupid's bow, just because I like a bit of highlighter around my Cupid's bow, and it just helps to highlight the natural shape of your lips. And then that is me done. Yay! That is my finished autumn look. So that concludes my autumn inspired makeup look today, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed it and it's given you some inspiration for your own autumn makeup look. Let me know in the comments what you thought, if you'd like to do any more tutorials, what you like about them, if there's anything you'd like to try out from my tutorial. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and comment, and also subscribe to my channel if you're new and if you haven't subscribed already. And thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye! Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video today. Thank you all very much for watching. If any of you want any more tips or ideas for autumn makeup, I also did a blog post over on my blog, which is called www.fashioneyesta.com. I'll leave the link in the description box, and it's all about my favourite autumn makeup for this time of the year. So if you want to check that out, I will link it down below. And thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!